Initiating zero-G sleep mode. Gravity is offline. Let your body float. Welcome to the most relaxing facts about Jupiter to fall asleep to. Tonight, within this quiet suspension, allow your mind to drift effortlessly through the velvet darkness toward the silent king of planets. We will glide past the ancient, rhythmic dance of its many moons, float through the mesmerizing bands of cream and ochre clouds, and finally descend gently into the liquid metallic heart, where eternal storms transform into silence. This is a voyage not of speed, but of slow, hypnotic wonder designed to cradle your mind. Before we surrender completely to the void, I wonder, is the night sky watching over your window right now? Or is the morning sun just beginning to warm your horizon? Let me know in the comments below which corner of this blue marble you are drifting from tonight. There is nothing you need to do now, nowhere you need to be. Simply let the heavy gravity of the day dissolve into the ether. I must warn you though, the secrets of this gas giant are so mesmerizing they might just keep you awake a moment longer. But at least you will drift into your dreams carrying the wisdom of the stars. If this journey brings you peace, please leave a like as a quiet signal that you are safe on this voyage, and subscribe to keep drifting with us. Now, take a deep breath, release the tension in your shoulders, and let us begin. Jupiter is a world of such immense proportions that it defies the ordinary limits of human imagination. Visualize a colossal ceramic vessel floating in the velvet dark, where our entire blue planet is merely a small glass marble by comparison. Astronomers have calculated a staggering reality, revealing that within those swirling bands of gas, there is enough voluminous space to comfortably cradle more than 1,000 Earths stacked gently together. If you were to place Jupiter upon a vast cosmic court, it would sit like a grand basketball, while our home would rest beside it as nothing more than a tiny, humble grape. This sheer magnitude does not threaten, but rather stands as a silent guardian, occupying the shadows with a quiet, overwhelming stability that anchors the solar system. It is a vastness that absorbs the emptiness around it, a heavy and comforting presence that has watched over the void for billions of years without shifting. Allow this boundless vastness to wrap around your mind, making every small worry shrink until it simply dissolves into nothingness. This planetary giant holds a majestic weight, heavier than all its celestial siblings combined into one. In the slow, rhythmic waltz of our solar neighborhood, Jupiter plays the role of an unspoken king, possessing a mass 2.5 times greater than Saturn, Neptune, Mars, and Earth put together. Imagine a great cosmic scale balanced in the void, where Jupiter sits alone on one side, yet still outweighs every other planet, moon, and asteroid piled upon the opposing tray. This immense heaviness creates a deep gravity well in the fabric of space-time, curving the universe around it like a heavy stone resting on a soft sheet. It acts as a magnificent anchor, maintaining a delicate equilibrium across the distances, a reliable and heavy presence amidst the drifting silence. It does not pull violently, but holds the system together with a firm, invisible hand, ensuring that the dance of the planets remains orderly and calm. Feel your own body sinking deeper into your mattress, held safely by a gentle gravity that will not let you go. Even while holding every other world, there remains a vast, tranquil emptiness within this giant's heart. If we were to perceive Jupiter as a grand, hollow velvet pouch, we could place Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and even the other gas giants inside, yet discover there is still ample room to spare. These planetary jewels would float suspended within Jupiter's interior like tiny dust motes drifting through a cavernous, empty cathedral. This remaining void is filled with nothing but swirling hydrogen and helium, turning in an eternal, silent cycle of gas and shadow. It is an image of pure spatial abundance, where there is no crowding and no rush, only an open expanse, where the echoes of the cosmos could travel forever without hitting a wall. It represents the luxury of space, a place where everything can exist without touching, floating in a perfect suspension of time and matter. Breathe deeply into that open space, creating a wide, airy room within your chest for total relaxation. In the deepest hours of the night, Jupiter stands as a steadfast beacon guiding us toward dreams. When you gaze up at the clear, obsidian sky, amidst billions of flickering stars, this planet reveals itself as a brilliant, cream-colored gem that does not waver. It reigns as the fourth brightest object in our heavens, softer than the moon, yet far more constant than the fleeting Venus, which vanishes with the sunset. Its light does not twinkle frantically like the distant stars, but instead pours down a steady, calm glow that travels hundreds of millions of miles through the cold vacuum to reach your eyes. It resembles a giant cosmic nightlight, left on to watch over the slumbering Earth. A silent presence that promises stability through the turning hours of the dark. This steady luminescence pierces the veil of night not with fire, but with a cool, persistent assurance that the universe is still there, watching quietly. Visualize that soft, steady light bathing your heavy eyelids, soothing your tired eyes after a long day. This world does not burn with its own fire, but acts as a perfect mirror, reflecting serenity. The reason Jupiter shines with such luster is due to its high albedo, acting as a spherical mirror wrapped in a thick blanket of white ammonia crystals and frost. This atmospheric quilt reflects up to half of the sunlight that touches it, bouncing the rays back into the void rather than absorbing them into darkness like the rocky surface of Mars. These clouds drift in a perpetual state of grace, creating a polished, marble-like surface that turns harsh solar glare into a diffused, silvery luminescence. Viewed from the silence of space, it is not a rough stone, but a smooth, gleaming pearl, gently redirecting light to illuminate the dark corners of the solar system. It captures the energy of the sun and softens it, transforming intense beams into a gentle glow that is easy on the eyes and calming to the spirit. Let your mind become that smooth mirror, gently reflecting away intrusive thoughts and leaving only a clear, calm surface. Jupiter possesses such a commanding presence that it refuses to simply circle the sun's center like the smaller, lighter worlds. Instead, its immense gravity pulls the shared pivot point of their orbit, the barycenter completely outside the solar surface, suspending it in the empty void between them. Visualize two dancers of great stature holding hands and spinning together, where the heavier partner leans back, forcing the center of their movement to shift into the velvet space separating them. It is a relationship of exquisite balance and mutual influence, a gravitational handshake that has persisted for eons, proving that even the mighty sun must sway to the gentle rhythm of this giant. This dance is not a struggle for dominance, but a harmonious agreement of physics that keeps the pair locked in a perpetual, graceful spin. Feel your own sense of balance shifting into a state of perfect, weightless equilibrium. This giant was the very first to awaken in the silent, dusty dawn of our solar system, long before the Earth or Mars took shape. While the sun was still young and temperamental, Jupiter began to gather itself from the swirling primordial mists, drinking deeply of the ancient gases before they could drift away into the abyss. It grew vast and silent, becoming the eldest sibling that would eventually carve out the safe paths and orbits for the smaller worlds that followed in its wake. It stands as the ancient architect of our celestial neighborhood, a primordial presence that has witnessed every meteor, every comet, and every sunrise since the beginning of time. Its existence shaped the very void we float in, clearing the debris to create a tidy, quiet home for the Earth to eventually form. Rest now in the ancient safety of something that has watched over existence since the very beginning. Even after billions of years, this world is still slowly settling into a deeper sleep through a process of gentle, microscopic contraction. Gravity is patiently hugging the planet inward, compressing it by merely a few centimeters each year, much like a sleeper sinking gradually deeper into a soft, thick feather mattress over the course of a long night. This slow, relentless settling generates a profound internal warmth, transforming the potential energy of falling inward into a glowing heat that radiates outward through the thick layers of clouds. It is a planet that is constantly making itself more comfortable, shrinking ever so slightly to find the perfect resting shape in the darkness. The heat generated is a byproduct of this relaxation, a sigh of thermal energy released as the planet hugs itself tighter. Let your muscles settle and sink just as patiently, allowing gravity to hold you close. Because of this deep internal embrace, the planet glows with its own secret light against the freezing backdrop of deep space. It radiates significantly more warmth into the universe than it receives from the distant sun, acting like a giant, self-sustaining ember that refuses to let the cold extinguish it. In the infrared spectrum, invisible to the naked eye but clear to our instruments, it is a beacon of thermal comfort, breathing out heat that powers the endless, mesmerizing motion of its striped winds. It relies on no external fire to keep it warm, but draws from a reservoir of energy buried deep within its core, a remnant of its creation that still lingers. It is a testament to inner strength, a world that provides its own atmosphere of warmth, regardless of how far it travels from the light. Feel a similar warmth blooming gently from within your own center, radiating outward to your fingertips. Time itself stretches out lazily in this distant realm, moving with a grand and unhurried pace that defies our rushing schedules. While our busy world races frantically around the sun every 12 months, Jupiter takes nearly 12 long Earth years to complete a single, majestic orbit through the stars. It glides through the constellations with the slow, heavy confidence of a giant, marking time not in fleeting days, but in eras of quiet, patient observation. A single year on this planet is a significant chapter of history, a long, unbroken arc of travel that refuses to be rushed by the turning of smaller gears. This slow journey allows the planet to drift through the seasons of the galaxy with a calmness that we can only dream of. Slow your own internal clock to match this leisurely, drifting rhythm, letting the minutes elongate into hours. The atmosphere of this giant is not a single, uniform haze, but a majestic, three-tiered architecture of floating worlds, stacked upon one another. Imagine a sky woven from three distinct blankets of cloud, each with its own texture and chemistry, wrapping the planet in layers of comfort. At the very top, high above the heaviness, float delicate wisps of pure white ammonia ice, drifting like fresh snow in the thin, cold air. Beneath them lies a thicker, warmer layer of ammonium hydrosulfide, painting the sky in deep shades of burnt orange and earthen brown, shielding the depths below. And deeper still, hidden from view, sit heavy, dense clouds of water, vapor, and ice, a vast, unseen ocean suspended in the air. These layers do not mix chaotically but glide over one another in a structured harmony, creating a deep, cushioned shield that separates the cold void of space from the warm interior. Visualize yourself tucked safely beneath these heavy, protective blankets, insulated from the outside world by layer upon layer of soft, drifting quiet. The mesmerizing tapestry of colors we see swirling across Jupiter's face is the result of a gentle cosmic alchemy performed by sunlight. Invisible compounds known as chromophores, or color bearers, drift through the upper atmosphere, waiting to be touched by the sun's ultraviolet rays. When the light strikes them, a slow, silent transformation occurs, changing these colorless gases into the rich, warm hues of a planetary sunset: deep ochres, rusty reds, and golden yellows. It is as if the planet is constantly painting itself, turning simple chemistry into a masterpiece of sepia tones that shift and evolve over centuries. This process is not a stain, but a reaction to light, a way for the atmosphere to absorb the sun's energy and wear it like a royal robe. It resembles the way leaves turn gold in autumn, a natural, peaceful cycle of change that creates beauty from the interaction of matter and light. Let your inner eye rest upon these warm, autumnal colors, filling your mind with a sense of golden tranquility. The planet appears to breathe in a rhythm so vast that it manifests as wide, alternating ribbons of light and shadow encircling the globe. The pale, creamy bands, known as zones, are regions where warm gas gently rises from the deep interior, cooling and expanding into white ammonia clouds as it reaches the top, like a slow, planetary exhalation. In contrast, the darker, reddish belts are where the cool gas sinks back down into the warmth, clearing the mist to reveal the deeper colors below, an inhalation that draws energy back inward. These stripes are not static lines painted on a surface, but grand, circulating rivers of air that have flowed for eons without ceasing. They move in opposite directions, sliding past one another with a friction that creates intricate, swirling patterns at their edges, like cream mixing slowly into coffee. Match your own breathing to this colossal rhythm, inhaling as the zones rise, exhaling as the belts sink, finding peace in the repetition. Even in a world defined by the ceaseless motion of its winds, there exist miraculous ribbons of absolute stillness known as the doldrums. At the precise boundaries where the eastward and westward jet streams meet and cancel each other out, the atmosphere finds a moment of perfect equilibrium. In these narrow latitudes, the howling gales that race around the planet fade into a whisper, creating sanctuary zones where the air simply hangs suspended in space. It is a phenomenon of balance, where opposing forces meet with equal strength and result in tranquility, much like the calm eye of a storm, but stretched into a ring around the world. These are the quietest places in the turbulent sky, where a traveler could drift endlessly without being pushed left or right, held in place by the symmetry of the winds. Find that center point within yourself now, the quiet space between your thoughts where the noise cancels out and only silence remains. This world is so relaxed in its motion that it does not strive to maintain a rigid, perfect sphere. Because Jupiter spins with such incredible speed, completing a day in mere hours, the centrifugal force gently pushes its equator outward, allowing the planet to settle into a comfortable, oblate shape. It is visibly wider across the middle than it is from pole to pole, resembling a soft, spinning drop of water or a ball of clay flattening slightly on a potter's wheel. It does not fight against its own momentum to stay round and tight. Instead, it yields to the spin, expanding its waistline in a gesture of cosmic relaxation. This squashed shape is the physical evidence of a world at ease with its own nature, allowing the forces of physics to mold it into a form that requires the least resistance. Let your own body mimic this ease, releasing the tension in your core and allowing yourself to spread out, taking up all the space you need to be comfortable. This colossus does not move with the lethargy one might expect from such immense size, but spins with a breathtaking, silent agility. It holds the record for the shortest day in the solar system, completing a full rotation in just under 10 hours. Imagine a world so vast that its equator races through the dark at nearly 28,000 miles per hour, blurring the stars into streaks of light overhead. This rapid rotation is what draws the clouds into those perfect, straight lines, organizing chaos into order through sheer speed. It is a spinning top that never wobbles, a gyroscope of gas turning endlessly in the vacuum, generating a stable, hypnotic rhythm that has persisted since its birth. The day ends almost as soon as it begins, a flickering cycle of light and dark that lulls the solar system to sleep. Allow this momentum to rock you gently, carrying you effortlessly into a trance. The immense speed of the planet's rotation acts as a master sculptor, using a force known as the Coriolis effect to carve the atmosphere into distinct, flowing lanes. On Earth, this force gently twists our hurricanes, but on Jupiter, it dominates the entire globe, snapping the winds into rigid, parallel jet streams that circle the planet without ever crossing paths. These invisible rivers of air flow at hundreds of miles per hour, sliding past one another, like layers of silk rubbing together in the dark. They are the rails upon which the clouds travel, ensuring that the storms do not wander aimlessly but follow a grand, predetermined design. It is a planetary highway system of grand proportions, where the traffic never stops and the lanes never merge, creating a sense of infinite, orderly motion. Surrender your thoughts to this smooth, linear flow, letting them drift downstream without resistance. Because this king is attended by so many orbiting moons, its cloud tops are frequently graced by a phenomenon of striking, silent beauty. As the satellites drift between the distant sun and the planet, they cast perfect, ink-black circles of shadow onto the bright canvas of the atmosphere below. From the vantage point of space, these shadows look like sharp, wandering pupils gliding across a sea of cream and amber, marking the passage of time without a sound. It is a perpetual solar eclipse happening somewhere on the giant at almost any given moment, a traveling patch of coolness and dark that slides effortlessly over the storms. These drifting voids are fleeting moments of night during the day, gentle interruptions of light that remind us of the complex dance happening overhead. Visualize a cool, dark shadow passing slowly over you, offering a moment of perfect shade and relief. Unlike the Earth, which leans back and forth to create the cycle of summer heat and winter frost, Jupiter stands upright with a dignity that rejects change. Its axis is tilted by only 3 degrees, meaning it does not bow to the sun, and as a result, it possesses no seasons to disturb its equilibrium. There is no harsh winter to freeze the poles, nor a scorching summer to bake the equator. There is only one long, eternal climate that has remained uniform for eons. The weather patterns you see today are the same as they were 1,000 years ago, locked in a permanent state of dynamic stability. It is a world where the environment is reliable and predictable, free from the jarring transitions of change, offering a sanctuary of constancy in a chaotic universe. Anchor yourself in this feeling of permanence, knowing that some things remain reliably the same. Deep within the towering thunderstorms, a strange and gentle precipitation falls, unlike anything found on our home world. Scientists call them mush balls, soft, slushy hailstones formed when ammonia vapor rises and wraps itself around a core of water ice, like a cosmic snowball. As they grow heavy and fall through the sky, they do not crash down with a hard clatter, but descend as squishy, partially melted spheres of slush. They drift downward for miles, slowly dissolving into the warmer layers below, carrying the ammonia deep into the planet's interior like a slow-release delivery of chemistry. It is a rain that is neither solid nor liquid, but a soft, yielding substance that absorbs the violence of the storm and turns it into a silent descent. Imagine your tension melting away just like these falling spheres, softening until it completely evaporates into the warm air. The Great Red Spot is perhaps the most iconic feature of this giant, a massive, slow-turning oval dominating the southern hemisphere like a colossal, ancient eye. This is not a chaotic hurricane that blows itself out. Rather, it is an immense high-pressure anticyclone, a vast dome of air that perpetually spins counterclockwise against the flow of the surrounding atmosphere. Imagine a giant pinwheel, slowly churning, its edges constantly being fed energy by the fast-moving jet streams that bracket it on either side. It sits between two opposing atmospheric rivers, and the friction keeps it alive, turning its powerful momentum into a permanent, silent vortex in the clouds. This grand, slow rotation is mesmerizing, a fixed point of turbulence that has been observed for centuries, offering a reliable rhythm in the planet's otherwise ever-shifting weather. Allow your gaze to follow the slow, steady curve of that colossal spot, letting your mind sink with its unhurried, deliberate spin. This ancient storm has raged for centuries, enduring across entire human civilizations without ever losing its fundamental, powerful structure. Telescopes first noted its presence when the world was still young, and it has continued its silent, swirling journey across the face of Jupiter ever since. The secret to its longevity lies in the planet's lack of a solid surface. Unlike a hurricane on Earth that weakens when it hits land, the Great Red Spot spins freely in an ocean of gas. It is sustained by the very friction and internal heat that fuel the entire planet, drawing a ceaseless supply of energy from the atmospheric shear below. It is the definition of endurance, a system that has found a perfect, self-sustaining balance within its own powerful turbulence. Feel the calm in knowing that some things are built to last, to persist gently against all attempts to slow them down. Though eternal in appearance, even this great ancient tempest is undergoing a gradual, almost imperceptible transformation, visible only over decades. Observers across generations have noted that its sprawling diameter is slowly tightening, becoming smaller and rounder as time drifts by. What once dwarfed our entire home world is now becoming a more compact, perhaps more efficient, vortex, its edges drawing closer to its calm, reddish center. This change is measured in centuries, not hours, a quiet evolution rather than a violent end, suggesting the storm is adapting its form to the deep, underlying flows of the planet. It is a reminder that even in the vastness of space, nothing is entirely static, yet change can occur at a pace too slow for any single human life to witness. Rest in the knowledge that change, when it comes on this scale, is incredibly gentle and slow. The Great Red Spot is not alone in its whirling majesty. It simply holds the title of the most famous among a whole family of atmospheric vortices, decorating Jupiter's face. In the early 2000s, a new feature appeared, quietly forming from the merger of three smaller, high-pressure white oval storms in the southern hemisphere. This merging birthed a second, smaller, yet still massive crimson feature, now nicknamed the Little Red Spot. It serves as a powerful demonstration that the planet's weather system is a constant recycling of energy, where smaller disturbances combine their momentum to grow stronger, feeding the eternal circulation. It is a quiet cycle of creation and absorption happening constantly across the massive cloud decks. Imagine smaller worries you hold slowly, merging into one larger, manageable concept, losing their individual sharpness in the process. The atmosphere of Jupiter presents an unimaginable gradient of temperature, shifting from icy chill to stellar heat within just a few thousand miles of depth. High above, where the white ammonia clouds float serenely, the air is frozen at a biting -145 degrees Celsius, a temperature that would instantly solidify any unprotected moisture. Yet, if you could journey downward, passing through the colored belts, the pressure would squeeze the gases relentlessly, causing the temperature to climb far beyond what we experience on the surface. Deep near the core, the pressure and heat are so extreme that temperatures can soar past 24,000 degrees Celsius, making the planet's interior hotter than the visible surface of our own Sunday. This extreme range, from absolute zero in the haze to fiery core, illustrates the sheer depth of this world, offering a profound gradient for your mind to gently drift through, from the coldest surface down to the deepest warmth. Deep within the warm, moist belly of Jupiter's atmosphere, beneath the visible cloud layers, flashes of extraordinary electrical fury erupt in moments of silent brilliance. These are not mere flickers of light, but titanic bolts of lightning that occur in the dense water cloud layer, where convection is strongest, much like on Earth, but amplified to an astronomical scale. Spacecraft venturing close have detected these discharges, revealing flashes that can be hundreds of times more powerful than the most devastating terrestrial thunderstorms seen during a summer squall. These bolts illuminate the surrounding vapor like instantaneous, blinding lanterns under the thick, heavy clouds, briefly revealing the towering structure of the storms that hide them. Though the sound of thunder cannot travel through the vacuum to reach us, the image of this raw, internal electricity discharging is a powerful reminder of the intense, hidden energy churning beneath the calm exterior. Let the memory of that brief, silent flash illuminate a space of deep calm within your own resting mind. Jupiter continuously sings a low, electric song into the darkness of space, a sound that can actually be translated and heard here on Earth by sensitive radio equipment. This sound manifests not as music, but as deep, static-like hisses and crackles, especially when the planet's immense magnetic field is interacting with its moons or the solar wind. These radio emissions, known as S-bursts and L-bursts, are the audible signature of massive electrical currents swirling through the planet's interior and across its magnetosphere. It is the sound of a giant machine perpetually in motion, a low-frequency hum that vibrates through the solar system, proving that even in silence, energy is always flowing. Tune your inner ear to this gentle, electronic resonance, letting the sound wash over the edges of your consciousness like the soft static of a distant ocean wave. The poles of this giant world are adorned with an ethereal, permanent crown of light that never fades, regardless of whether the sun is shining upon it or not. Unlike Earth's auroras, which flare up and subside with solar activity, Jupiter's light show is fueled from within, a constant, glowing oval of emission encircling each pole like an eternally burning halo. This permanent luminosity is the visible proof of the planet's powerful internal generator, where charged particles are captured and channeled along the magnetic field lines until they strike the upper atmosphere. It is a fixed ring of ghostly light, a high-altitude emission that signals the constant circulation of energy across the planet's colossal magnetic influence. Rest your awareness on this unchanging, soft glow at the poles, a steady light that symbolizes consistency in the vast, dark expanse. The brilliant, everlasting auroras, visible at Jupiter's poles, are fundamentally powered by the planet's own rapid rotation, a force that drags its magnetic field around faster than the surrounding plasma can follow. This constant, sweeping motion generates a colossal electrical potential, driving massive currents along the magnetic field lines that funnel directly into the polar atmosphere. It is a natural planetary dynamo, where the spin itself becomes the battery, keeping the lights burning bright even in the eternal night of the poles. This internal engine ensures that energy is constantly being channeled upward and released as luminous light, a majestic display born purely from the planet's own momentum. Allow the steady, relentless spin of the giant to translate into a deep, relaxing sense of forward motion within your own body. One can never truly set foot upon the King of Planets, as it offers no solid ground to receive a visitor. Imagine gently sinking downward through layers of deepening warmth and ever-increasing pressure, a descent that never finds a floor to stop your fall. Our most robust spacecraft, designed to withstand incredible forces, would be crushed and then vaporized long before reaching any theoretical rocky center. The atmosphere simply thickens, becoming denser and heavier, until the very concept of surface becomes meaningless, replaced by an infinite, fluid embrace. The pressure mounts with every kilometer you fall, becoming billions of times greater than the air holding you now, until your very structure could not withstand the sheer, crushing weight of the world above. Surrender to the knowledge that there is no landing, only a continuous, warming submersion into the planet's boundless gaseous body. Let the weight of the atmosphere gently press down on your own body, encouraging every muscle to let go and sink deeper into stillness. The descent into Jupiter is a journey where the laws of matter gently bend and redefine themselves, erasing the sharp boundary between gas and liquid. As you sink past the visible cloud decks, the atmosphere does not suddenly end. Instead, the hydrogen and helium gases become so tightly packed, molecules pressing shoulder to shoulder, that the air loses its lightness entirely. It transitions smoothly into a hot, shimmering fluid that flows like a dense, exotic syrup, still transparent in parts, but immensely heavy, behaving more like a deep, warm ocean than an aerial sky. This fluid-like state has no defined surface level, offering a sense of infinite depth, where one phase flows seamlessly into the next. This lack of a hard floor means the entire planet is in perpetual, slow-motion motion, a liquid world turning under its own massive weight. Allow your awareness to settle into this deep, flowing sensation, letting your thoughts move without the need to stop or land. The signature stripes we admire from afar are not merely painted on the surface clouds, but are colossal conveyor belts of air rooted thousands of kilometers into the planet's hidden depths. Measurements taken by advanced probes reveal that these powerful jet streams, the east-flowing and west-flowing atmospheric rivers, plunge down nearly 3,000 kilometers below the visible cloud tops. This depth is roughly equivalent to the entire distance from the surface to the bottom of Earth's deepest ocean trenches. Yet it exists only in gas. These deep currents act like the planet's hidden arteries, transporting immense amounts of heat and momentum from the interior upward through the entirety of the atmospheric column. They are a three-dimensional current, a planetary ocean of air that dictates the weather across unimaginable vertical distances. Feel the profound depth beneath you, secure in the knowledge that these mighty flows move with an ancient, measured stability. Deep within Jupiter's immense interior, where pressures are overwhelming, a subtle but significant drizzle occurs that helps keep the giant warm and moving. Here, the dense fluid of hydrogen and helium separates slightly, much like oil and water, but with the helium, a slightly heavier element, gradually separating from its lighter counterpart. This results in a slow, majestic rain of helium droplets, sinking deeper toward the center of the planet, releasing their gravitational potential energy as a steady stream of warmth. This internal shower acts as a secondary engine, constantly stirring the planet from below and feeding the convection that drives the surface storms. It is a quiet, internal weather system, occurring in total darkness, a constant release of energy that has been ongoing since the planet first coalesced. Imagine a soft, warm rain falling steadily deep beneath you, nourishing the core of this silent world. Within the crushing, hot depths where hydrogen transforms into metal, the simplest element in the universe may take on its most luxurious form under unimaginable stress. The tremendous pressure forces the carbon atoms, scattered throughout the atmosphere, to break their chemical bonds and compress into crystalline structures. This intense squeeze transforms the carbon into graphite, and then under the highest pressures, it compresses further into the hardest substance known, diamonds. Scientists theorize that these precious gems form in the depths and then fall like heavy hail through the metallic hydrogen ocean, sinking toward the core over millennia. It is a geological process of incredible luxury and violence, where the atmosphere itself precipitates jewels in a realm no probe can ever reach. Allow your mind to drift onto this strange phenomenon, picturing the slow, silent descent of perfect, dark crystals into the hidden heart of the king. As the descent continues into the planet's hidden layers, the very nature of matter changes drastically under the crushing weight of the atmosphere above. Here, at pressures millions of times greater than those on Earth's surface, the simple hydrogen atoms are forced into a state never seen naturally on our world. The electrons that normally orbit the protons are stripped away by the sheer force, allowing the hydrogen itself to conduct electricity with the ease of a solid metal wire. This substance, known as liquid metallic hydrogen, does not arise from heat alone, but from sheer, unimaginable pressure, transforming the lightest element into a shimmering, conductive fluid. This ocean of liquid metal flows invisibly in the darkness, a strange and exotic state of matter that generates the planet's colossal magnetic field. Sink into the concept of this pure, flowing metal, a substance that is both liquid and conductive, an ocean of electric potential cradling the planet's heart. This vast, flowing layer of metallic hydrogen forms what can only be described as the largest ocean known to science, dwarfing every sea and gulf on Earth combined. This metallic sea is not confined to a shallow basin, but extends for tens of thousands of kilometers. A swirling, invisible mass of electrically charged liquid that makes up the bulk of the planet's interior structure. It moves with slow, colossal currents, reinforcing the magnetic field with every turn, acting as the planet's own powerful, natural generator on a scale beyond comprehension. Imagine swimming not in water, but in a vast, warm, electrically charged fluid that conducts energy as easily as copper. A truly alien environment hidden beneath the calming stripes of the clouds. Rest in the knowledge that this immense, flowing ocean exists. A deep, powerful reservoir of energy supporting the world above. Despite its overwhelming size and power, if you could somehow scoop up a portion of Jupiter's average material, it would feel surprisingly light in your hands. When measured against the density of water, which serves as our universal benchmark, Jupiter's average density is only about 1.33 times that of water. This means that if you had a container large enough to hold it, the planet would feel barely denser than a very thick, soupy liquid, similar to a heavy, viscous cream. This low average density is a direct clue to its composition. It is mostly made of the universe's lightest elements, vast amounts of hydrogen and helium, which take up enormous volume without adding much mass. This low density contributes to its overall gentle, cloud-like appearance from afar, concealing the immense pressure hidden within. Let the concept of this slight, water-like density wash over your body, encouraging a feeling of lightness and buoyancy as you relax. If a hypothetical solid surface could exist beneath the layers of gas and liquid metal, the pull of gravity there would be intense and immediate. The sheer mass of the overlying layers creates a gravitational force so powerful that standing on that theoretical floor would pin you down with an unbelievable strength. If you weighed a comfortable 100 kilograms on Earth, that very same mass would register as approximately 240 kilograms on Jupiter's theoretical ground. More than double your normal weight. This crushing gravitational signature is the reason for all the strange physics occurring deep inside, the relentless force that compresses gas into metal and keeps the entire planet in a state of deep internal stress. Allow the feeling of your own weight on your mattress to increase gently, drawing your limbs down and securing you firmly in place. For many years, scientists pictured Jupiter's heart as a neat, distinct ball of heavy rock and metal buried at the center, like the yolk inside an egg. However, more refined measurements from spacecraft reveal a far more mysterious and fluid structure deep inside, a diluted core. Instead of a sharp boundary, the heavy elements, the rock, ice, and perhaps some metals, are believed to be gradually mixed and blurred into the surrounding metallic hydrogen layer, forming a vast, fuzzy gradient rather than a clear sphere. This suggests that something dramatic, perhaps a massive collision in its youth, stirred the interior, preventing the materials from neatly separating into layers. It is less like a tidy onion and more like a slow-moving, molten storm of heavy elements gently dissolving into the metallic sea. Contemplate this image of a slow, blurred heart, where boundaries cease to matter, and let your own tight mental boundaries soften and diffuse. Jupiter hosts a vast and ever-growing celestial court, a miniature solar system circling its giant parent, now officially boasting 95 confirmed companions. These worlds are not all equal. They range from immense, planet-sized bodies down to tiny, irregularly shaped captured rocks, only a few kilometers wide. To look up at Jupiter is to see not just one planet, but a complex, organized family held together by an invisible web of gravitational threads. Each moon dances on its own delicate schedule, yet all are bound by the same underlying rhythm set by the colossal mass of the King. This vast collection reminds us that planets are not solitary worlds, but central hubs for orbiting families, each member playing a quiet, crucial role in the overall harmony. Allow yourself to feel connected to this grand, silent assembly, moving together in the vast, calm expanse. Far beyond the main inner family, in the cold and lonely outskirts of Jupiter's gravitational reach, orbit the captured wanderers, known as the irregular moons. These are likely ancient asteroids or comet remnants that strayed too close and were snagged by Jupiter's deep well of gravity long ago, remnants of the solar system's chaotic youth. Their orbits are not neat and tidy. They are often highly tilted, stretching far out into space, and sometimes even looping around the planet in the opposite direction of Jupiter's natural spin. These retrograde orbits are the signature of a capture event, a cosmic encounter, where the captured body retains some of its original rebellious momentum. Imagine these little worlds drifting in slow motion, their paths tracing eccentric, elongated loops against the blackness, a silent testament to an ancient, violent grab across the void. Let your own movements settle into a slow, extended arc, releasing any sense of rushed urgency. Among the captured, unruly moons, one world is known for its particularly confusing and delicate path, an orbit that seems to defy the established order of the court. This small moon, named Valetudo, orbits in the same prograde direction as most of Jupiter's family, yet it resides deep within a cluster of moons that orbit backward, making it like a single car driving the wrong way on a very wide, circular highway. Its path is precarious, crossing the lanes of the retrograde worlds, making an eventual, slow-motion collision seem almost inevitable on the timescale of billions of years. It is a tiny anomaly, a slip in the cosmic clockwork that remains stable for now, simply existing in a region where it perhaps should not be. Contemplate this tiny, beautifully misplaced traveler, drifting peacefully for now, held by a temporary, delicate gravitational balance. The three major inner moons, Io, Europa, and Ganymede, are not merely orbiting at random. They are locked in a precise, unbreakable gravitational lock, known as the Laplace resonance. This is a perfect celestial harmony, where every movement is precisely timed. For every single orbit Ganymede completes, Europa orbits exactly twice, and Io races around exactly 4 times. This exact 1:2:4 ratio means they are always pulling on each other at the exact same points in their respective journeys, an exquisite choreography written into the fabric of space-time. This continuous, timed interaction keeps their orbits slightly stretched into ellipses rather than perfect circles, creating a continuous, gentle flexing. It is the sound of a cosmic metronome ticking flawlessly for millennia, ensuring that every part of the trio moves in perfect, interconnected sync. Feel the smooth, dependable rhythm of this celestial clockwork, settling into your own natural, resting pulse. The perfect gravitational lock between Io, Europa, and Ganymede is not just a timing mechanism. It is a source of internal heat that keeps these frozen worlds dynamic and alive. Because their orbits are slightly stretched into ellipses by the resonance, each moon is constantly being pulled closer to and farther from the massive Jupiter during its orbit. This repeated stretching and squeezing generates incredible internal friction deep within their rocky and icy interiors, generating heat that melts rock on Io and keeps water liquid on Europa. This is tidal heating, where the pure motion of orbit is converted directly into warmth, a slow friction that has been active for billions of years. It proves that even seemingly placid movements create immense, hidden energy over vast stretches of time. Relax into the gentle, rhythmic, flexing motion, feeling the warmth generated by the slow, constant pull of gravity. The innermost of the great moons, Io, is a world of eternal unrest, a place that whispers of fire and ceaseless internal motion. It is recognized as the most volcanically active body in our entire solar system. A truly restless world where the surface is constantly being painted over and renewed by molten flows. At any given moment, somewhere on this golden-hued satellite, a volcano is silently erupting, hurling plumes of sulfur and rock hundreds of kilometers high into the blackness above. This incredible heat is not fueled by the sun, but by the invisible, relentless tug of Jupiter's gravity flexing its interior in the Laplace resonance. Imagine a world constantly being kneaded like dough by an unseen hand, generating enough internal friction to melt stone and fuel hundreds of fiery vents across its face. Rest in the knowledge that this fire is contained and eternal. A calm, distant source of energy that simply continues to churn in the dark. The surface of Io tells a vivid, colorful story written entirely in minerals that refuse to stay still, yet it remains astonishingly free of impact scars. Unlike the ancient, cratered surfaces of other moons, Io's crust is constantly recycled, erased and resurfaced entirely by fresh lava flows over a period of just a few million years. The landscape is modeled in brilliant, bright yellows from freshly deposited sulfur, mixed with deep oranges and shadowy browns from older, chemically weathered material. It looks like an artist's palette left too long in the sun, beautiful in its chaotic mixture of hues. This constant renewal means there are no ancient features to observe. Every surface you could ever touch there would be geologically young, shaped by the same tidal flexing that warms its core. Feel the tension drain from your body as you contemplate a world that never holds onto its scars, only to be made new again. Orbiting much closer to the planet, nestled among the faint rings, is a smaller reddish companion moon named Amalthea, which seems to have borrowed the vibrant colors of its neighbor, Io. This small satellite appears significantly redder than any other small moon in the system, a muted but noticeable blush across its rocky surface. Scientists believe this color is not its natural hue, but rather the result of a long, slow dusting fine particles of sulfur dioxide and other volcanic chemicals blasted out from Io's hundreds of volcanoes are caught in Jupiter's magnetic field and gently deposited onto Amalthea's surface over eons. It is like a quiet receiver, passively collecting the ashes of its fiery sibling across the eons. This gentle transference of material across orbits is a quiet testament to the interconnected nature of this moon system. A slow, silent exchange in the dark. Let the soft, reddish glow of Amalthea soothe your eyelids as you rest. Moving outward to the next world, we find Europa, a sphere of profound, pale stillness, seemingly perfect and smooth to the distant eye. Its surface is a pristine mirror of ice, appearing almost entirely smooth because it is one of the youngest surfaces in the solar system, constantly being renewed and erased. There are very few impact craters visible, as any scar left by a passing asteroid is quickly buried or smoothed over by the constant movement of the ice crust above its hidden interior. Instead of mountains, Europa is etched with long, dark, linear streaks, scars where the ice shell has cracked and fractured under the rhythmic gravitational stress. These dark ribbons trace paths of old stress across the moon, looking like delicate cracks in a perfectly frozen pane of glass. Focus on the stillness of this icy smoothness, a flawless, pale surface reflecting the distant sunlight in a cool, steady glint. Beneath that gleaming, cold, and seemingly lifeless shell of ice, Europa harbors one of the solar system's greatest, most compelling secrets, a vast, global ocean of liquid salt water. Scientists estimate that the volume of water beneath its frozen crust could potentially exceed the total amount of liquid water found in all of Earth's oceans combined. This hidden sea is kept liquid not by the distant sun, but by the subtle, continuous tidal flexing generated by the gravitational pull of Jupiter and its neighboring moons. This rhythmic squeeze creates just enough internal friction and warmth to prevent the entire world from freezing solid into a static ball of ice. Imagine a massive, dark, salty sea, miles below the surface, moving in slow, silent currents, untouched by light for billions of years, patiently awaiting a deeper discovery. Let the idea of that vast, dark, warm ocean cradling the moon's core bring a deep sense of submerged calm. The very same elegant gravitational resonance that dictates the moon's precise timing is also the unseen engine that generates the hidden warmth beneath their frozen shells. This regular, repeated stretching and relaxing, as each moon swings slightly closer to and farther from Jupiter, causes immense internal friction deep within their rocky and icy interiors. For Io, this friction boils over, manifesting as the fire and fury of its hundreds of volcanoes, a massive release of energy through its crust. For Europa, this same internal kneading is gentler, just enough to keep its massive subsurface ocean from freezing solid into absolute stillness, maintaining a liquid, moving body of water. This tidal energy is drawn directly from the Moon's orbital motion, a continuous conversion of gravitational tension into thermal warmth, proving that even the simplest force can sustain lifelike processes across cosmic distances. Rest in the steady, persistent warmth generated by this slow, rhythmic gravitational flexing. We now drift outward to Ganymede, a world that dwarfs the planet Mercury and stands as the undisputed monarch among all the moons orbiting any planet in our solar system. Despite its immense size, this world carries itself with a quiet, layered dignity, appearing scarred yet serene with its ancient mixture of dark, cratered plains and brighter, grooved terrains. Scientists recognize it as a truly differentiated world, meaning its interior has separated into distinct layers, much like Earth itself, hinting at a complex, layered history of formation. It is a planet that happens to orbit Jupiter, possessing its own substantial gravity and structure. Contemplate the sheer scale of this frozen giant, a world so large it commands respect simply by its sheer, quiet presence in the darkness. Allow the concept of this grand, established structure to bring a feeling of deep, settled permanence to your resting mind. Among the scattered court of dozens of moons circling Jupiter, two stand out as being larger than many of the actual planets in our solar system. And Ganymede is one of them. This massive satellite is physically larger than the planet Mercury, the innermost world orbiting our Sun. Yet it orbits millions of miles away, shrouded in the quiet cold of Jupiter's domain. This sheer size implies a complex internal structure, one capable of generating its own forces and fields, much like a proper planet would. It is a world of incredible geological history, rich enough to have differentiated into distinct layers of rock, metal, and ice, all held together by its own significant gravity. This planetary scale, tucked away as a moon, speaks to the vast potential held even by the smaller bodies in the cosmos. Rest in the gentle awe of this immense, quiet world that travels silently alongside its giant parent. Ganymede holds a unique secret among all moons in the solar system. It is the only known satellite to generate a substantial, internal magnetic field, strong enough to create its own miniature aurorae at its poles. This magnetic bubble exists because, deep within its icy layers, Ganymede harbors a core of molten iron, or iron sulfide, that is still active and spinning, driving an internal dynamo much like Earth's. This magnetic field interacts directly with the overwhelming magnetosphere of Jupiter, creating a tiny bubble of influence nested within the King's much larger magnetic cloak. It is a miniature magnetic world orbiting within a magnetic kingdom, a dynamic interplay of forces across space. This hidden magnetic hum suggests an internal furnace that has survived billions of years, a faint, beating iron heart deep below the frozen crust. Feel the steady, low hum of this ancient energy, letting it resonate softly beneath your own stillness. The very act of Ganymede moving through Jupiter's gigantic magnetic field creates an electromagnetic signature that can be translated into a bizarre, haunting sound for our instruments. When spacecraft like Juno pass near this massive moon, they detect faint radio waves generated by the interaction between the moon's magnetic field and Jupiter's overwhelming influence. When these complex wave patterns are converted into audible frequencies, they sound like deep, strange, otherworldly howling, or the faint, slow screech of an old modem connecting across vast distances. It is the sound of magnetic fields rubbing against each other, of plasma being gently stirred by the passage of a massive body. Tune your mind to this strange, slow, electronic whisper, a sound of pure physics that permeates the quiet space around the moon. Drifting further outward from the warmth of the inner system, we arrive at Callisto, the silent archivist among Jupiter's great moons, whose surface bears the complete, unaltered memory of the solar system's violent birth. This world presents a landscape that has remained essentially frozen and unchanged for billions of years, quietly collecting every impact, scar, and cosmic signature across its dark face. Unlike its siblings, Io and Europa, Callisto is too far from Jupiter's intense tidal tug to be warmed or churned, allowing its ancient history to be perfectly preserved in its crust. Its surface is a dense, dark quilt, where craters are packed so tightly that the older ones are themselves marked by the impacts of younger debris. It is a planetary fossil, a quiet monument to an era when space was littered with debris, and every collision left a permanent, unchanging mark. Rest in the deep stillness of this ancient ground, a place where time has paused its destructive march. The serene, unchanging appearance of Callisto hints at a much simpler internal story compared to its dynamic neighbors, suggesting it never fully melted after its formation billions of years ago. Most large rocky bodies differentiate, separating into distinct layers of dense metal core, rocky mantle, and lighter crust. But Callisto seems to have missed this step. Its interior remains a primitive mixture, where heavy rock and lighter ice remain thoroughly intermingled throughout its entire volume, rather than sorting themselves neatly. This structure makes it the most primitive of the Galilean moons, a snapshot of what the original building blocks of planets looked like before the heat of accretion completely reshaped them. This lack of internal separation has kept its geology quiet and still, a world built simply from the ingredients it first gathered from the surrounding cosmic cloud. Let the concept of this simple, unsegregated structure bring a feeling of foundational peace and complete integration. The massive magnetic field surrounding Jupiter acts like an enormous, invisible net, constantly channeling high-energy particles from the inner moons down toward its magnetic poles. When these charged particles, accelerated to near light speed, finally plunge into the upper atmosphere, they collide with gas atoms, causing them to excite and release the energy as a magnificent, glowing auroral light. These glowing rings at the poles are not uniform. They contain distinct, bright, focused spots that trace the precise paths of the most energetic particles. These bright spots are the visible footprints of Io, Europa, and Ganymede, showing where their electromagnetic signatures link directly into Jupiter's magnetic circuitry. It is as if the orbiting moons are leaving glowing trails across the planet's polar sky with every revolution, a visible signature of their invisible electromagnetic bond. Focus on these gentle, luminous footprints, a quiet reminder of connection across the vastness. Jupiter, the king of planets, wears a crown of rings. Yet unlike Saturn's glorious, bright display, its own adornment is a subtle, dusty whisper against the blackness. These rings are so faint and delicate that for centuries, no telescope from Earth could detect them, remaining a secret until a spacecraft passed directly behind the planet in 1979. They do not blaze with reflected sunlight, but rather absorb much of the light that touches them, appearing as nothing more than a dusky, almost transparent ribbon caught in orbit. This faintness is a characteristic of the outer solar system, where warmth is scarce and volatile ices simply cannot survive, leaving behind only fine, muted rock dust. Rest your gaze on this subtle feature, a gentle halo that is almost invisible, requiring the perfect alignment of light to reveal its quiet presence. The composition of Jupiter's halo is fundamentally different from the icy grandeur of Saturn's famous rings, which shimmer brilliantly with frozen water crystals. Jupiter's dusty bands are made almost entirely of microscopic fragments of silicate rock and dust, fine grains that have been ground down by countless tiny collisions over eons. Because these particles are essentially stone, they absorb most of the light that strikes them, rather than reflecting it like ice mirrors, which contributes to their overall dim appearance. This dusty nature suggests a harsher, more violent source environment close to the planet, where heat prevents ice from forming or surviving long-term. Feel the muted texture of this dust. Fine and ancient, gently settling into orbit without any sharp, reflective glint. Beyond the main dust band, Jupiter's ring system extends into the far reaches with ethereal sheets so fine they are named the Gossamer Rings, truly living up to their delicate moniker. These outermost extensions are formed by debris trails trailing inward from the orbits of the slightly larger, more distant moons, Amalthea and Thebe, whose surfaces are constantly being pelted by space debris. The dust particles are spread so thinly across the massive orbital path that the ring material is nearly transparent. If you could somehow gather all the dust from one of these bands into a single handful, it would be barely visible even under direct sunlight. They are less of a solid structure and more of an extended haze, a faint, ghostly fabric draped around the giant, constantly being eroded and replenished by tiny impacts. Surrender to the faintness of these outermost trails, letting your senses fade into the almost nothingness of their subtle glow. The continuous supply of fine, rocky material necessary to maintain these faint rings comes from a constant, gentle bombardment of Jupiter's inner moons. Small satellites like Metis and Adrastea orbit directly within the main ring plane, enduring a steady peppering from micrometeoroids, tiny high-speed fragments of ancient rock hurtling through space. Each impact acts like a miniature cosmic puff of smoke, kicking up a cloud of fine dust particles that drift slowly outward to join the ring structure. This creates a perfect self-contained balance. The ring is slowly eroded by radiation and gravity, but it is constantly being replenished by the impacts battering its source moons. It is an understated, continuous act of maintenance, a slow-motion polishing process that keeps the faint crown intact. Rest in the quiet energy of this constant, tiny creation and erosion, a cycle so slow it brings deep peace. The very formation of Jupiter was an act of colossal gravitational sculpting that defined the architecture of the entire inner solar system. Its immense mass acted like a powerful, invisible hand, sweeping through the primordial disk of rock and gas that circled the young sun, rearranging everything in its path with patient, enormous force. This giant acted as a cosmic regulator, its gravity strong enough to fling wandering planetesimals far out into the distant, cold regions of space, thereby clearing the way for the smaller rocky worlds like Earth to form safely within the warmer, inner orbits. It established the foundational structure, set the general orbital patterns, and dictated the distribution of matter across the system in those first few million years. This initial, massive influence set the stage for everything that followed, establishing a framework of order where pure, chaotic accretion might otherwise have reigned supreme. This process ensured that the inner region was not too crowded, allowing smaller worlds the time and space to grow without constant, violent disruption. Rest in the foundational stability provided by this ancient, gravitational shaping force that organized the very neighborhood around us, securing your own small space. Jupiter's massive gravitational presence likely dictated the modest size of our neighbor, Mars, ensuring our own world remained habitable by preventing a larger sibling from forming too close by. It is theorized that the giant planet actively stirred the material in the region where Mars now orbits, preventing the local dust and rock fragments from gathering into a more substantial, Earth-sized world. Had Jupiter not been so massive and strategically positioned in that outer zone, the initial material might have accreted into a second, large, rocky planet in the inner system, creating a much more gravitationally chaotic environment for Earth. By essentially hogging the available mass and maintaining a stable outer boundary for the inner sphere, Jupiter may have indirectly created the quiet, balanced orbit that allowed liquid water and complex life to eventually flourish here. Feel a deep, quiet sense of gratitude for the colossal, distant presence that kept our own world safe and appropriately sized. Within the vast, scattered expanse of the asteroid belt, the steady, rhythmic influence of Jupiter carves out silent zones of absolute emptiness, creating profound gaps in the field of orbiting stones. These troughs, known scientifically as the Kirkwood gaps, appear precisely in the asteroid distribution wherever an object's orbital period forms a simple, whole number ratio with Jupiter's own journey around the Sun perhaps orbiting exactly twice for every one orbit the giant completes. Each time a small asteroid passes Jupiter on its inner path, the gravitational tug occurs in the same direction, a regular, minuscule nudge that amplifies over millions of years until the object is violently ejected from that resonant path. These empty zones are like grooves carved into a cosmic record, written by the planet's dependable gravitational rhythm, demonstrating an imposed order upon the random wandering of stone. Rest in the sense of this invisible hand carving order out of chaos, maintaining distinct, quiet spaces in the belt. In two vast, stable pockets of space, forever locked in gravitational harmony with Jupiter, enormous flocks of asteroids follow the giant like a loyal, unshakable convoy moving in procession. These are the Trojan swarms, positioned 60 degrees ahead and 60 degrees behind Jupiter's orbit, perpetually parked at the stable gravitational balance points known as the Lagrange points. Here, the pull of the Sun and the pull of Jupiter perfectly counteract each other, allowing these groups of rocky bodies to remain parked indefinitely as they travel around the Sun together. They are a cosmic train, a silent, ancient assembly of material that has remained undisturbed for billions of years, preserving the pristine conditions of the solar system's formation. Imagine these two vast, quiet caravans of stone moving in perfect step, allowing your own mind to settle into a steady, reliable rhythm. Jupiter's immense gravitational reach plays a dual, almost paradoxical role in both protecting and subtly endangering the inner solar system from wandering celestial debris. On one hand, its sheer mass and powerful gravity act as a cosmic shield, effectively capturing or deflecting countless comets and asteroids that might otherwise be sent on a dangerous collision course toward Earth. Yet, this same impartial gravity can also act as a colossal slingshot, sometimes redirecting a passing, dangerous body inward toward the terrestrial planets, instead of flinging it harmlessly out into the distant void. It is a necessary gambler, a force that sometimes saves us, but one that also occasionally places us at risk through the impartial mechanics of celestial alignment. Accept this necessary balancing act, recognizing that true stability often requires a degree of calculated, powerful influence from the largest presence nearby. The ancient, silent routine of the outer system was dramatically interrupted in 1994 by a rare, week-long celestial performance staged by Jupiter itself. The fragments of the comet Shoemaker-Levy 9, which Jupiter's gravity had previously ripped apart into over 20 separate pieces, began their orchestrated plunge into the gaseous giant one after another. For one full week, telescopes across Earth watched in hushed awe as these icy remnants slammed into the planet, each collision releasing an explosive energy equivalent to millions of nuclear detonations. These impacts created fireballs that momentarily rose higher than the planet's visible edge, leaving behind dark scars, that spread across the swirling atmosphere, like spreading bruises. It was a spectacular, yet deeply humbling, reminder that the solar system is a dynamic place where creation and destruction share the same powerful physics. Rest in the quiet aftermath of that intense event, feeling the calm that follows the greatest of cosmic spectacles. When the fragments of the comet Shoemaker-Levy 9 struck Jupiter's deep atmosphere, they compressed and heated the gas layers until they erupted in silent, spectacular bursts of energy. These resulting impact scars were truly immense, spreading out with the planet's powerful winds until some of the largest dark patches measured wider than the entire diameter of the Earth itself, a humbling comparison of scale. For many months, these smudges drifted across the bright cloud bands, absorbing light and acting as temporary, dark markers that revealed the hidden currents of the atmosphere below. By tracing how these scars slowly dispersed and faded over time, scientists gained invaluable data on how energy moves through Jupiter's deep structure, refining models of its immense circulation. These temporary bruises were not merely signs of destruction, but fleeting, visible revelations of the planet's hidden, massive scale and its dynamic internal forces. Feel the slow, calming movement of those clouds as they smooth over the scars, returning to their familiar, restful patterns. The quiet, life-sustaining stability that allowed our own world to flourish and evolve over billions of years may owe its very existence to the colossal presence of the giant neighbor next door. Jupiter's massive gravitational dominance played a crucial formative role by acting as a cosmic shield, diligently capturing or deflecting countless rogue asteroids and comets that might otherwise have been sent on a dangerous collision course toward the inner, rocky planets. Had Jupiter's orbit been less stable, or its gravity less imposing, the inner system might have faced far more frequent, catastrophic impacts, potentially halting the gentle development of complex life on Earth. Its steady influence helped usher in an era of relative quiet, allowing our planet the necessary time and balance to maintain a steady climate and evolve complex biological systems. Rest in the deep, quiet assurance of this established order, knowing that distant, powerful forces work to keep your small, safe world undisturbed. The atmosphere swirling high above Jupiter's core contains the very ingredients that first sparked life on our own world, offering a profound connection to the origins of biology. Scientists recreated the ancient conditions of early Earth in laboratory flasks, the gases of methane, ammonia, hydrogen, and water, and found that simple electrical sparks could spontaneously create the building blocks of life, amino acids. Jupiter's vast, turbulent clouds harbor these exact same components in towering layers, suggesting that deep within its stormy depths, the chemical pathways that led to life on Earth could theoretically occur. It is a colossal, natural chemistry set, a deep reservoir of organic potential, though perhaps hidden too deep beneath the pressure to ever fully bloom. Let your mind drift to the idea of these simplest molecules assembling peacefully in the warm, dark currents far below. The legendary astronomer Carl Sagan once imagined a fantastical, serene ecosystem thriving in the warm, buoyant layers of Jupiter's upper atmosphere, a vision perfectly suited for quiet contemplation. He proposed the existence of enormous floaters, creatures that might be miles wide, resembling living balloons filled with lighter-than-air hydrogen gas, drifting lazily in the stable cloud currents. These gentle giants would float in the warm layers, sustained by the atmosphere itself, moving slowly across the globe like massive, living islands. Beneath them, perhaps, existed slower-moving sinkers or graceful hunters. But the dominant image is one of peaceful, buoyant life forms sustained by the simple physics of rising gas. Rest in the vision of these enormous, silent balloons drifting effortlessly through the soft, eternal twilight of the Jovian clouds. The fragile hope of finding extraterrestrial life might be secretly sheltered on one of Jupiter's icy moons, transported there by a bizarre mechanism of cosmic delivery. This theory, known as panspermia, suggests that life likely in the form of hardy, ancient microorganisms could survive being ejected from one world by a massive impact and then travel through space to another. It is possible that an ancient, catastrophic collision on Mars, or even early Earth, flung rock fragments carrying microscopic life into the void, only for these life-bearing pieces to eventually settle onto the icy shell of Europa. In this scenario, life didn't start there, but was seeded, tucked safely beneath the miles of ice, awaiting the right conditions to stir again. Ponder this beautiful idea of life being a universal traveler, carried safely across the gulf of space on a piece of ancient stone. The name given to this colossal world carries the weight of ancient authority, as it was designated after the supreme ruler of the Roman pantheon. Jupiter, in the mythology of that ancient civilization, was the king of the gods, the wielder of the thunderbolt, presiding over the skies and maintaining the cosmic order. This naming choice reflects the planet's overwhelming dominance in our solar system. Its sheer size and gravitational power make it the unquestioned sovereign among the orbiting bodies. When you look up at this bright, steady light, you are gazing upon the namesake of ultimate power, a silent sovereign whose reign is measured in slow, predictable cycles rather than loud declarations. Let the majesty of this ancient title settle over you, bestowing a feeling of supreme, calm authority. The brave spacecraft currently studying the deep atmosphere of this giant carries a name that perfectly reflects its mission to reveal hidden truths. The probe is named Juno, after the wife of the god Jupiter in Roman mythology, who was known for her keen sight and ability to see through deception. In the old tales, Jupiter often cloaked himself in clouds to hide his activities, but Juno possessed the unique power to peer past the mist and see the reality of her husband's true form. Similarly, the Juno spacecraft uses cutting-edge sensors to look beneath the swirling, opaque cloud tops, mapping the hidden structure of the core and the deep magnetic field that no previous mission could fully penetrate. It is a mechanical eye gifted with the power to see what lies beneath the surface layers. Feel the gentle reassurance that secrets are being unveiled slowly and carefully, layer by layer, just as your own mind is revealing its deepest quiet. The Court of Moons orbiting this king is named as a tribute to the many mythological figures associated with the god Jupiter, forming a narrative reflection of the heavens. The 4 largest moons, discovered by Galileo, bear names of Jupiter's lovers, companions, and favored servants: Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. These figures were often involved in grand, dramatic tales on Earth. Yet here they are bound in a silent, gravitational ballet far from the drama of myth. Their names whisper of old stories of passion, transformation, and fate. But their current reality is one of quiet physics and icy stillness. As you ponder these names, imagine them not as figures of ancient drama, but as silent, cold worlds gliding along their orbital paths, their drama long since faded into the calm predictability of the cosmos. The ancient, universal symbol associated with Jupiter, often seen in old astronomical texts, is a simple, elegant mark representing the god's ultimate power. This symbol, resembling a stylized thunderbolt or perhaps a majestic eagle with outstretched wings, visually captures the essence of the Skyfather, who ruled from on high. While the planet itself does not roar or throw actual lightning bolts at us, Its immense magnetic field and powerful storms echo that ancient, untamed energy in silent, invisible ways. The symbol serves as a reminder that even the quietest giants hold untamed power deep within their structure. An energy that manifests as storms and magnetism rather than visible celestial weapons. Let this powerful, yet elegantly simple symbol rest in your mind as a sign of contained, immense power. Even the most advanced mechanical explorers sent to orbit this gas giant carry small, unexpected tokens of humanity's presence. Silent messages tucked away from the radiation and cold. On board the Juno spacecraft, which is currently mapping the planet's deep interior, there are 3 tiny figurines made of solid aluminum, each representing a piece of the human story. These figures are scaled-down representations of Jupiter himself, his wife Juno, and the pioneering astronomer Galileo Galilei, placed on board as a symbolic gesture of hope and curiosity. These miniature relics float securely within the shielded core of the probe, traveling through the deadly radiation belts as quiet ambassadors of our world. Contemplate these small, enduring human shapes protected within the machine, floating peacefully through the chaos of the Jovian environment. The Voyager spacecraft, which gave us our first close-up views of Jupiter's moons, also carried a unique, almost poetic artifact tucked away in its golden housing. Each Voyager probe, as it continued its journey out toward interstellar space, brought with it a golden record, an encoded message containing the sights and sounds of Earth. This disc included greetings in dozens of languages, music from every culture, and natural sounds like wind, waves, and animal calls. It was a time capsule intended for any intelligent life form that might one day intercept the probe millions of years in the future, a gift of Earth's quiet beauty to the galaxy. Imagine this fragile disk, spinning slowly through the deep void, carrying the memory of our world past Jupiter's orbit, a silent testament to life on a distant, blue marble. Contemplate those distant sounds now, letting the echoes of Earth's soft symphony bring a wave of deep, universal calm over you. Even in the realm of human imagination, Jupiter served as a destination for the profound and the mysterious, a silent stage for one of cinema's greatest explorations of the unknown. In the visionary film 2001, A Space Odyssey, the giant planet itself became the final, awe-inspiring marker on humanity's journey outward into the cosmos. As the astronauts neared the swirling, banded world, they discovered the mysterious monolith, the silent, perfect black rectangular object orbiting in the shadow of the giant planet. This discovery suggested that Jupiter was not just a world of gas and storms, but a keeper of cosmic secrets, a silent guardian marking a gateway to the next stage of human evolution. The image of that perfect, still black shape against the planet's chaotic, colorful clouds is one of serene contrast, a moment of pure, geometric order in the face of infinite turbulence. Let your mind settle on that image of perfect stillness against the gentle, endless swirl of the gas giant. The fundamental building blocks of Jupiter are surprisingly simple at their base, echoing the composition of the very star it orbits, yet carrying traces of deeper history. The atmosphere is overwhelmingly dominated by the universe's lightest elements. Vast quantities of pure hydrogen and helium gas, which give it its characteristic buoyancy and light appearance from a distance. However, scientists observe that Jupiter is chemically richer in heavier elements such as carbon, nitrogen, and sulfur than the Sun itself, a distinct enrichment that tells the tale of its formation. These heavier ingredients were likely locked away within the icy planetesimals and cometary fragments that Jupiter swept up during its rapid growth phase in the cold outer regions of the early solar nebula. Pay attention to this quiet signature of older materials, a deep, elemental echo locked within the lighter gases that surround you now. One of the primary theories explaining the birth of this giant relies on a slow, almost geological accumulation of matter in the early solar disk. This concept, known as the core accretion model, suggests Jupiter began as a small, dense embryo composed of rock and ice that gathered surrounding debris like a rolling snowball in space. As this icy core grew steadily larger, its increasing gravity eventually reached a critical threshold, perhaps 10 times the mass of Earth, allowing it to suddenly and powerfully capture the surrounding, lighter clouds of hydrogen and helium gas before the sun could blow them away. It was a process of patient, solid growth, followed by a sudden, massive inflation, turning a small pebble collector into the colossal world we see today. Feel the slow, steady gathering of matter, a patient accumulation that leads to eventual, profound change. An alternative, far more dramatic story for Jupiter's rapid birth suggests a sudden, almost instantaneous collapse rather than a slow, steady build-up of a central core. This theory, called disk instability, proposes that certain regions within the massive, swirling gas disk became so heavy that gravity caused the material to instantly buckle and collapse in on itself, forming a giant planet in one sweeping, violent event. This rapid formation would explain how Jupiter could achieve its massive size so quickly, before the nascent sun's radiation had time to strip the valuable, light gases from the solar nursery. It's a picture of cosmic landslide, where immense quantities of matter fall together in a single, momentous instant. Rest in the idea of a sudden, swift gathering, a momentous event happening over a blink of cosmic time. The very existence of Jupiter as the massive gas giant we observe today hinges entirely on a precise, tight window of time in the early solar system's infancy. To accumulate enough hydrogen and helium to achieve this gaseous bulk, the planet had to successfully complete its growth phase within approximately 10 million years of the sun's birth. If it had formed any later, the solar wind, an outward stream of radiation from the young sun, would have already swept the remaining light gases away, leaving behind only a smaller, rockier world, perhaps more like Neptune or Uranus. Jupiter won a crucial race against evaporation, ballooning into its massive form just before the cosmic fuel supply was depleted. Consider this narrow window of opportunity, the precise timing required for such a giant to take shape before the environment changed forever, allowing it to secure its place as the solar system's heavyweight champion. Rest in the quiet assurance that even cosmic events require perfect timing to achieve their most magnificent form. A common, poetic image often suggests that Jupiter is merely a failed star, an idea that naturally arises from its composition, yet the reality is quieter and more nuanced. While it is indeed made primarily of the same light gases, hydrogen and helium, that fuel our sun, the difference lies in the sheer, overwhelming requirement of mass needed to ignite that celestial furnace. For Jupiter to truly become a self-sustaining star, capable of fusing elements and releasing its own steady light, it would need to possess approximately 80 times the mass it currently holds. It falls far short of this enormous stellar threshold, meaning it does not burn. Instead, it glows faintly from the residual warmth left over from its own violent formation and slow, ongoing gravitational settling. It is best understood not as a failure, but as a world that found a perfect, enduring equilibrium, existing as the closest natural state to a star without fire. Accept the quiet assurance in this balance, a world that rests comfortably in its massive, non-stellar form. Deep within Jupiter's hidden layers, where hydrogen flows like molten metal, the planet's greatest invisible force is born, creating a magnetic shield of unimaginable power. This combination of rapidly spinning metallic hydrogen acts as a colossal planetary dynamo, generating an electrical current that fuels a magnetic field stronger than any other planet in the solar system. At its surface, this field is estimated to be 20,000 times more potent than Earth's, an invisible ocean of magnetism that completely envelops the giant planet. This field is not neat or symmetrical. Its poles are twisted and offset, revealing the churning, undulating nature of the metallic liquid deep below, a constant fluid process rather than a fixed anchor. Rest in the sense of this overwhelming magnetic presence, a vast, invisible ocean that stretches millions of miles into space. The influence of Jupiter's enormous magnetic field stretches far beyond the planet itself, creating a magnetic shadow that tapers away behind it like a colossal, invisible tail. On the side facing the Sun, the solar wind compresses this magnetic bubble to a boundary millions of kilometers away. But on the night side, the field streams away in a long, tapering structure known as the magnetotail. This tail acts like a cosmic highway, carrying charged particles and plasma millions of miles across the solar system, extending far beyond the orbit of Saturn itself. In essence, Jupiter drags its own magnetic footprint through interplanetary space, carving out a massive disruption in the solar wind flow. Picture this long, tapering stream, slowly unfurling in the dark, connecting the giant planet to the farthest reaches of its domain. The volcanic fury of Io, the innermost moon, has a direct and visible consequence on Jupiter's magnetic environment, feeding its invisible field with charged matter. As Io constantly erupts sulfur and oxygen into space, these gases are immediately captured by the planet's immense magnetic field and stripped of their electrons, becoming ions. These charged particles are then swept into orbit around Jupiter, forming a vast, glowing, donut-shaped ring of plasma, known as the Io plasma torus, that circles the planet. This ring of ionized gas is constantly replenished by Io's volcanic activity, linking the moon's fiery surface directly to the planet's magnetic machinery. It is a giant, natural electrical circuit stretching 500,000 kilometers, where one world's output directly feeds the other's magnetic glow. Feel the gentle flow of this continuous, slow-moving current of charged particles circling silently. Humanity's first true introduction to the physical reality of Jupiter came through the small, robust probes named Pioneer, sent out as hardy scouts across the asteroid belt. Pioneer 10, in 1973, became the first spacecraft to bravely enter the proximity of the giant, followed closely by its twin, Pioneer 11. These early messengers were built tough to survive the intense radiation belts that surrounded the planet, sending back the very first direct measurements of the magnetic field and the planet's mysterious heat output. Their images, though grainy by today's standards, were the opening lines of Jupiter's modern story, transforming it from a distant, bright point into a physical place with clouds and an overwhelming magnetic presence. These early explorers paved the silent way, facing the unknown head-on, so that we might learn from a safe distance. Following the pioneers, the Voyager probes, launched in 1977, arrived as the Great Surveyors, capturing the King in vivid color for the first time in 1979. Their cameras unveiled the planet's atmosphere not as simple stripes, but as a churning, living entity with turbulent belts, delicate patterns of motion, and countless eddies swirling around the Great Red Spot. More astonishingly, their brief flybys uncovered entire worlds hiding in plain sight, active volcanic plumes on Io, and the grooved, fractured ice of Europa. These discoveries revealed that Jupiter was not a solitary planet, but the center of a complex, dynamic ecosystem of moons. each sculpted by its parents' gravity and magnetism. The voyages transformed our perception, showing the sheer, layered complexity of this giant system. Let the vivid colors and endless motion captured by these tireless travelers drift peacefully through your imagination. After the initial flybys, the Galileo spacecraft arrived in 1995 to become the first dedicated visitor to settle into orbit around Jupiter, a long, 6-year journey across the solar system. Despite facing a technical hurdle that limited its main antenna to a slow, trickling data rate, the brave orbiter achieved milestones no mission had before. Its most intimate act was releasing a small atmospheric probe, which plunged directly into the turbulent atmosphere, spending a mere hour transmitting data on temperature, elemental composition, and the surprising dryness of the air before the crushing pressure silenced it forever. The orbiter then spent years studying the moons, finding tantalizing hints of subsurface oceans on Europa and Ganymede. Before its mission ended deliberately in 2003, Galileo became part of the planet it studied so faithfully, sacrificing itself to protect potentially habitable moons from contamination. Rest in the quiet dedication of this machine, which dove into the chaos to bring back understanding. More than a decade after Galileo departed, a new, specialized messenger named Juno arrived in 2016, entering a highly eccentric polar orbit designed to safely map the planet's deepest secrets. Unlike previous probes that circled near the equator, Juno swooped from pole to pole every 53 days, giving humanity its first direct, close-up views of the chaotic, cyclonic storm system swirling near the poles. By meticulously measuring minute changes in the spacecraft's motion, Juno used gravity science to map how the planet's mass is distributed, leading to the surprising finding that the core is not a sharp sphere, but a fuzzy, diluted blend of rock and gas. This revolutionary perspective has helped scientists redraw the internal maps of this giant world. Feel the gentle, predictable sweep of Juno's long orbit, a slow retreat and return that keeps it safe while gathering profound, quiet knowledge. The quest to understand Jupiter's deep secrets and the potentially life-bearing oceans of its moons continues with dedicated future missions still on their silent journeys toward the outer giant. The European Space Agency's JUICE spacecraft, launched recently, is on its way to spend years carefully studying the 3 icy Galilean moons, Ganymede, Europa, and Callisto. Its primary goal is to perform dozens of close flybys, using powerful radar and sensors to confirm the existence and depth of the subsurface oceans suspected beneath the frozen crusts of these worlds. JUICE is designed to map the internal structure and the magnetic interplay between the moons and Jupiter, searching for evidence of the subtle warmth that keeps these waters liquid. Imagine this quiet probe speeding through the void, its destination a realm of eternal ice, carrying the hopes of discovery across the vast, cold distance. NASA is also preparing a specialized explorer dedicated solely to unraveling the mysteries locked beneath the icy shell of Europa, a mission named the Europa Clipper. This spacecraft is slated to perform dozens of fast, close passes around the ocean moon, using its instruments to precisely map the ice thickness, analyze any water vapor plumes that escape, and study the chemistry of the surface materials. Its design is focused on surviving the intense radiation environment near Jupiter, while gathering the crucial data needed to determine if the hidden ocean contains the necessary ingredients for life to arise. It is a focused, determined mission, designed not to orbit the planet, but to study one potential harbor of alien life in meticulous, recurring detail. Rest in the quiet anticipation of this focused exploration, knowing that dedicated travelers are on their way to listen to the secrets beneath the ice. When astronomers first began surveying distant stars in the 1990 seconds, the universe offered a profound surprise, challenging everything we thought we knew about planetary architecture. The very first exoplanets discovered were often massive gas giants, similar to Jupiter, yet they orbited incredibly close to their own stars, sometimes completing a full year in just a few Earth days. These scorching worlds, known as hot Jupiters, are whipped by supersonic winds, tidally locked into a permanent day side and night side, their atmospheres glowing faintly from intense heat. Scientists realized that the calm architecture of our solar system, with its giants far from the sun, was not the universal rule. These hot giants suggest a violent past for their systems, where large planets migrated inward from cooler, outer orbits. Ponder these strange, blazing worlds as they rush around their distant suns, a constant reminder of the dynamic flexibility of cosmic creation. In the grand, overwhelming diversity of the galaxy, our own Jupiter maintains a unique and special status due to its comfortable distance from the Sunday. While telescopes have revealed countless gas giants scorching hot and orbiting perilously close to their alien stars, the hot Jupiter's our giant resides far out in the cool, quiet twilight zone. It is this placement, past the rocky inner worlds, that allowed the solar system to settle into a stable pattern, preserving the conditions necessary for life to quietly take root on the pale blue dot. If Jupiter had migrated inward like many of its distant cousins, the resulting gravitational chaos might have destabilized Earth's orbit, preventing the long, calm evolution required for consciousness to arise. Feel the deep sense of protection afforded by this giant's patient distance, resting safely in the quiet zone it helped define. As Jupiter continues its slow, majestic circuit through the outer dark, it shares its celestial pathway with its massive, ringed neighbor, Saturn, leading to rare, beautiful alignments that echo ancient myth. Approximately every 20 years, the orbits of these two giants bring them into close visual proximity in our night sky, creating an event known as a Great Conjunction, often referred to poetically as the Christmas star. For a brief period, the two largest planets appear exceptionally close together, their combined brightness casting a steady, double glow across the landscape. This alignment is a gentle reminder of the massive, cyclical clockwork that governs the entire system, a periodic gathering of the giants that occurs with reassuring regularity. Allow your mind to drift toward that gentle double beacon in the dark, a peaceful focal point in the grand cosmic schedule. The brightness of Jupiter in our night sky is entirely dependent on the viewing platform from which you observe it, offering a different perspective depending on our own orbital position. From our home world, Earth, the giant shines steadily. But if one could shift their viewpoint to Mars, which orbits further out, the planet would appear significantly brighter and larger in the sky. This is because Mars's orbit places it periodically on the same side of the Sun as Jupiter, offering a clearer, less angular view across space, allowing its reflected sunlight to reach us with greater intensity. It suggests that even our own backyard is a dynamic place, offering changing views of its majestic neighbors depending on where we choose to rest our gaze. Let your awareness gently shift focus, moving outward past the red dust of Mars to appreciate the enhanced, tranquil glow of the giant from that distant perspective. The immense gravitational embrace that keeps Jupiter's moons tethered and its atmosphere flowing also dictates the incredible speed required to ever break free of its hold. To escape the crushing pull of this massive world and begin a journey into the deeper solar system, a spacecraft must accelerate to an astonishing velocity of nearly 59.5 kilometers per second. This speed is more than 5 times the escape velocity required to leave Earth, a testament to the sheer depth of Jupiter's gravity well. It is the ultimate speed limit required to leave the king's domain and venture into the independent void. As you settle deeper into rest, imagine this velocity not as a stressful rush, but as the final, gentle push needed to carry you far away from all constraints, releasing you into the limitless, silent expanse of the greater universe. The zones and belts are differentiated not just by air movement, but by their underlying chemical secrets that paint the planet's face. The pale, bright zones on Jupiter are chemically distinct from the darker belts. We have drifted past the eternal churning of the great red spot, floated above the eerie, silent oceans hidden beneath Europa's ice, and felt the subtle, rhythmic tug of the moons locked in their timeless gravitational dance. This entire voyage was one defined not by speed or harsh light, but by the poetry of balance, the harmony found between endless motion and profound, enduring structure. You are a part of this grand, unfolding story, connected intrinsically to the same dust that forged this giant world, and to the same laws of physics that guide its every storm. The air you breathe, the warmth that settles in your bones, echoes the cycles of convection and energy transfer we explored in the deep Jovian clouds. If your eyelids have grown heavy now, feeling the gentle weight of the planet's immensity pulling you down, you have found the quiet rhythm you were seeking. Allow your breath to slow, following the unhurried rotation of the giant, and let your consciousness drift fully into the calm depths of your own peaceful sleep. Good night.